Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 now. We're already 3 episodes into this Casey Anthony case, which is it's been flying by. And how are you going, Tiffany?
Doing very well. Yeah, it has been going by quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So now we finished basically halfway through her, I guess, the major interrogation. The one where kind of it all comes crashing down around her. So Um, just trying to think before we started a bit of a recap. I mean, there's probably not too much to recap, like because we are going around and round in circles. But where we got to in the last video is where they've essentially really pointed out all of her, that Jeffrey barely knows her, doesn't have a kid, all that kind of stuff. That Juliette Lewis doesn't exist. That they don't believe her about Zenaida. So yeah, I guess that's where we pick up from.
Hmm.
So let's go. There we go. Very demure, Casey. Yeah. All right. Well, here we go.
In which I take that, to be a personal insult. I can't speak for them. Here's where it comes down to. None of us are sitting here believing what you're saying because everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. And unless we start getting the truth, we're going to announce two possibilities with Caylee. Either you gave Caylee to someone and you don't want anyone to find out because you think you're a bad mom, or something happened to Caylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere, and you had something to do with it. Either way right now is not a very pretty picture to be painting. Either way right now, with everything that you're telling us, you're painting yourself as a very bad person. Your family's going to suffer for this. Your friends are going to suffer for this. And remember what I told you about all these people coming out? They're going to crucify you for this because of all the lies that you've been telling us. We need to stop that right now. Everything you've told us is a lie. You're looking me in the eyes. You're looking at everything you told us is a lie. Every single thing. And you can't keep sitting here and telling us the same thing and getting constantly over and over and over again, we're disproving everything that you're telling us. You're telling us that you've lied to us. You're telling us you're giving us misinformation. Everything you're telling us. Okay? It needs to end.
The truthful thing
This
is that I
needs to
have not
end.
seen my daughter. The last time that I saw her was on the 9th of June.
And what happened to Caylee?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
I don't know.
Something happened to Caylee. We're not going to discuss whether the last time you saw her. I'm guessing something bad happened to her some time ago and you haven't seen her. So that part is true if you say you haven't seen her because she's somewhere else right now.
She's with someone else.
No,
right
she's
now.
either in a dumpster right now, she's buried somewhere, she's out there somewhere and her rotten body is starting to decompose because of what you're telling us. And here's the problem. The longer this goes, the worse it's going to be for everyone. Everyone. The worse it's going to be for everyone. Right now, everything you've told us, we've locked you into a lie. Every single thing that you've told us has been a lie. We're proving all that. Now, right now, it's going to be one of two things. Either we find Caylee a lie, which is going to help you out extremely by telling us the truth, or we find Caylee not a lie, which if you start telling us the truth, might still paint you in a better picture. But here's where it needs to end. Here's where the truth needs to come out, okay? No more lies, no more bull coming out of your mouth. We've been very respectful. We're taking our time and talking to you. But we're tired of the lies. No more lies. What happened to Caylee?
I don't know.
You do know. What
I
happened to
don't know
Caylee?
where she is. That is the God's honest
Where
truth.
was she the last time that you put her somewhere? Where was she?
The last time I saw her was on those steps at that apartment that I took you to this morning. The same apartment that I took the other officers to last night.
But you didn't give her to you didn't give her to anyone while you were there. See, we're
I
pulling,
did.
no, because
No,
listen to me. We're even pulling surveillance video from an apartment complex, and they have to keep this by law for several days, okay? And we're not seeing you over there. We're not seeing you there at all that day. Do you think that we're stupid and we're not going to do all this stuff? Okay, we're not seeing you there. So now, if you're not there and you're not being seen there, and somebody's already saying that you're not there, and everything else you've told us is a lie, that's telling me. Remember we had those two people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident or made an accident.
So just stopping it there for a second. Like, what amazes me is how composed she is here. Like, both for the
Hmm.
fact that, I mean, I don't think it's support. Like, she's obviously telling a story here. It doesn't support either. Like, it doesn't support that she has no idea what's happened outside as the night has taken her. But like, it doesn't make her look good for her story either. Because I mean, and yes, everyone reacts different, that kind of thing. But he's just said, We know it's not Wisdonita. She's, Kaylee's buried somewhere, she's with someone else, or, she's dead in a dumpster. And there's no reaction, there's no kind of, because you'd think if you really don't know what's happening to your daughter, that would be really hard to hear. At the very least, you'd be like, please, there'd be some reaction like, that's not the case, or, don't say that, or that would make you cry. Like, that would be, confronting to hear, but there's just like, the truthful thing is, I left her on the steps with Zenida. Like, it's just so that doesn't ring true to the story she's telling. Um, and it, yeah, I don't understand why there's no reaction because, and even if, I mean, she knows that Kaylee's dead, so there's no
Hmm.
reaction there. There's no kind of crying. There's like, I mean, that if you're not, a psychopath, even if you have killed her, that should resonate with you because it reminds you of the fact that your daughter is dead, be it by your hands or someone else. But there's nothing.
No, there's nothing. And that's exactly right too, what you said. She already knows.
Mm.
She already knows that she's dead. So, like I mentioned last time, there's nothing else that she can do for Kaylee.
Yep.
At this point, she needs to save herself. She needs to protect herself. So it's the same thing like with Chris Watts. I mean, showing pictures of the kids. They do that all the time.
Yeah.
They'll throw a picture of a victim in front of who they're questioning to see what happens. I mean, but it's the same thing with Chris Watts. I mean, he didn't exhibit any emotion at all.
Mm.
And that was because he already knew that they were dead.
Yep.
So what I mean, it's not that he wouldn't well, obviously it takes a certain type of a person to be able to do what they've done,
Yeah. Yep.
you
But
know. So yeah, absolutely. She's not showing any emotion because all that she cares about is herself.
yeah, and it's so like that doesn't come naturally to her, obviously, but it's like, and she is so similar to Chris Watts. It's like they don't even have a comprehension for what a normal person would be like in this situation. So she's obviously putting on an act here because she's trying to save herself, but y- you know, you think you'd understand that, oh, like it's like she's a robot. Like you think she'd understand, okay, a mother that cared about their daughter would be upset by hearing that, so I need to show some of that. But there's nothing, and it's the same as Chris Watts. Like he he kind of planned it all out to, okay, I'm gonna be at work, and then when the cops call up and that, I'm going to come home and try to go through the motions of a panicked husband. But like
Hmm.
like they're thinking they want to do that, but they just can't do it, or they just don't. It's like a
Right.
like an alien has jumped into a human body, and they're trying to figure out how would a human react in this situation.
Right.
Accident or made a bad decision, and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster, that's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're giving me no choice. You understand you're giving me no choice. Listen, this is going to be the opportunity that you have right now, no matter how heinous you think that what happened was to Caylee, this is your opportunity to tell us. This is going to be your only opportunity to tell us. Because what's going to happen, we're going to find out. There's not going to be a question, we're going to find out. Okay? We've got so many resources on this right now, just like I told you would happen, that what we're trying to do is prove your story, but everything that we've done is disproving your story. Every single thing. Everything you've told us, we've shown you have lied about it. Casey has lied about it, and we're looking for your child. We got to throw these lies out, okay? All these lies are out. We know that everything you told us is a lie. Tell us what happened to Caylee. Tell us what happened to
I
Caylee.
dropped off Caylee. And that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her
Where
off.
did you drop her off?
I dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
That's exactly
No,
where I
you
dropped
didn't.
her off.
And who'd you drop her off to?
With Zenaida.
No, you didn't.
She's
Because
the
none of
last
that.
person.
No, that's not true.
Did Zenaida give you any money that day?
No. I would not have sold my daughter. If I wanted to really just get rid of her, I would have left her with my parents and I would have left.
No.
I would have moved out. I would have given my mom custody.
What about the baby's daddy's parents? Would you have left them with them too?
I haven't talked to them since we were probably 6 or 7 years old, since we were little kids. That was probably the last time
You don't
I
have a
saw
phone
or
number
talked
for
to
them?
them. No, I do not. I would not have let anything happen to my daughter, except I made the mistake of trusting another person with her. That's it.
No, stop. You've made a lot more mistakes by that, because everything that you've told us, every single thing, from the point that you opened your mouth to the police officer this morning to right now, everything has been a lie. We're sitting at Universal Studios because of a lie. We've got all these other people in the station right now talking to us because of a lie. We've got all these other apartment buildings that we've got people that had to go check on because of a lie. Okay? We need to stop this lie. Your mother has called me countless times today, okay? And that's why my phone keeps going off. Countless times, because your mother knows, your father knows, everyone around you knows that you have lied completely and absolutely from the get-go. Everyone knows. Why you're not coming out with it and why you're not telling us the truth, no one has an answer to. The only person that has an answer to that is you. And this is what we're trying to implore upon you. You need to tell us the truth about what happened to Caylee. It's not that she was with someone and he didn't call. That's not the truth.
It is the truth.
That's not the truth. You need to tell. No, it's not the truth. See, we can't get past that unless you go ahead and tell us the
There's
truth.
nothing to get past, because that is the truth. If there was anything else,
Let's get
something
past
could
this.
happen.
Let's get past how we got to Universal Studios. Let's get past why you talked to your daughter yesterday on the phone, having no idea where she's at and having not seen her for 5 weeks, and you didn't call anybody. Did you just think that one day she's just going to show up at your house?
No, I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened.
What?
Happened for a reason, because
She's glad she saw her mum. Like, if that was the case, she would have gone and seen her a month ago. Like, she's been actively avoiding her parents, but she's apparently glad. Like, oh, thank God. Like,
Yeah, I think she's just trying to say that she's been holding all of this in,
yeah,
and now she's been forced to face it.
yeah. And but even that, like, cool, all right. If you want to believe that, yeah, she's just been kind of out on a limb, but we heard on her phone in the very recent aftermath of her mum finding her high with her boyfriend that she didn't even want to be on the phone. Like, that's not someone who's like, oh, thank God, okay, we can finally start looking for Caylee. It's like, I've got nothing to say to the cops. Like, fucking hell.
Right.
You're glad you saw your mom. Let me ask you this. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago and said, Mom, I don't know where. You could have called your mom 5 weeks ago.
I was
What has
scared.
happened?
I saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
Well, so you're more afraid. So wait a minute. So you're more afraid of your mom's reaction than you are if you ever see your daughter again?
You know, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself, because there's that chance that I might not see Caylee again, and I don't want to think about
Well,
that.
let me ask you, how, by lying to us and saying us all these wild goose chases. Hold on a minute, okay? I want you to tell me, okay? This is I mean, is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that maybe maybe you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us, so you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here because we might find stuff that would help, or did you lie to us purposely, or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
I purposely misled
Okay, so you purposely misled us. This was all an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
Again, in a backwards sort of way, yes.
Backwards sort
I'm
of
coming
way.
back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her. Familiar situations that
What did you think?
just maybe
How old is she?
would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What do you think, she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how do
she's
you think
not.
she's going to get here?
Because she's with someone else. If I could find her,
She's
if I
with
could
someone
track
else.
her down,
Wait a minute,
this
she's
wouldn't
with,
be happening.
okay, hold on a second. Let's put this together to where it makes sense, okay? She's with someone else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks.
Yes.
Who let her call you on the phone yesterday, but then hung up. But you brought us here today because she might be here.
She could be
Well,
anywhere.
That's true, but why here? Why would well, let me ask you this, okay? Why would a person who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks, okay, bring her to the building that you used to work at? I mean, did you think you'd walk in here, she'd be sitting in the lobby, or? Okay, well, you brought us here to find her, right? Because you thought, maybe in some weird sort of, I think what you said, a backwards way, that we find her here, that this would help. So I'm asking you.
Maybe she's been here within the last 5 weeks. Maybe they have something from up front, her coming through the
Right.
turnstiles. I don't know.
So you think that this person who's hid her from you for 5 weeks, okay, that had her call you on the phone yesterday and tell you about this book she was reading, then hung up, would bring her to Universal Studios?
Why on earth would she think that? Like, why would you go back to Universal Studios if you've kidnapped someone? It's
Yeah, she doesn't really think that. She's just telling them what she thinks is a good reason for dragging them there
like just
because there's no other explanation for her to give.
no, but just shut up. Like you,
No, I agree.
like just say I want a lawyer. Like this is just. I mean, this is what is crazy. This is stuff like this is like how on earth was she found not guilty? I mean, she did
Hmm.
everything wrong in terms of trying to avoid, you know, prison, but she was somehow rewarded. It's incredible.
In particular.
Not in this office.
Well,
Coming
this
to
is where
this
you brought
office.
us. You didn't take us to the turnstiles, did you? You brought us here, right?
You're right.
Okay. Now, when you told him about these other places that were wrong earlier today, that was also an attempt to help us find her, right?
These are other places that I've gone to and either seen Caylee or I know that her nanny has been to.
And you were completely truthful with them about all
Yes,
of it.
I was completely truthful about those places that we've been to. I've been to those steps. That's where I've dropped.
No, I'm not talking about the steps. Okay, what about
I'm
these
talking
other?
about the other places. The other houses, I
The
know.
old folks' home?
Not the old folks' home.
Oh, so that was not really all the way true.
I know Zanny has been to the old folks' home.
Yeah,
I've
you
never.
pointed out the third floor window and you said, well, that's what's her name's bedroom, and Zanny's bedroom is right below, is on the other side. That's what you told me. So that was a lie.
That was a lie.
And that was going to help find her how? Telling a line about that bedroom and where Zandy's bedroom was, that was going to help find her how? Huh?
It's not helping.
Well, then why would you do it? Because that's what we're here for, right? Find her.
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something
Well, let me
would have
ask you
happened,
this.
I would have admitted that a long time ago.
Do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
Is your daughter in a better place?
No, she's not.
Are you worried about her?
I'm absolutely petrified. If she was with her family right now, she'd be in the best place. She's not. She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared that
That you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
What point did you stop trusting her?
The moment that her phone was cut off and I couldn't get in contact with my daughter.
So you thought then, man, something ain't right.
Something's wrong.
And when you started thinking that something was wrong, which police agency did you call first? Us or the city police, or who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no, okay, all right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Juliette Lewis.
True.
I can't think of
Yeah,
anything
but
else.
Julia Lewis.
and Jeffrey Hopkins, I guess. So it wasn't
Yeah.
no one.
That I can
Right,
say.
exactly. And she's still not answering the question.
No.
All she said was, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
They're not okay. She's trying to present a story that she doesn't know where Caylee is.
Mhm.
So then it's understood that she doesn't know where Caylee is. So she's not the one that has to go and find her.
No.
They're trying to help. Well, they already know that Kaylee's not alive, but their purpose and their purpose of all of these agencies with all of the resources is to go and find her.
Exactly.
So by sending them on these ridiculous wild goose chases and making up people, making up stories. Oh, that's Zanny's bedroom.
Mm.
Why? She's not answering the question as to why she's doing that. All
That
she said was, I don't know what else to do
that's
to
exactly
find
right.
her.
And at the end of the day, now and any time throughout of this, you didn't have to do anything, Casey, except tell the police. Like, you know, you don't have to crack the case. That's what the cops are meant to do. So you tell the
Mhm.
police, you give them any information you have, and then that's it. Like, but she keeps like it's like I don't know the way she words. It's almost like she's saying, I'm at my wits' end, so I've decided, to come to you guys. Like that's the first call, and the only explanation as to why you wouldn't do that is because you're the one that killed her. There is no
Sure. Or
and
you know what happened to her, at least.
exactly right because there's no
Mhm.
and yes, in times of trauma and that people can do illogical things, but there is no amount of logic that can lead to this being the answer and especially what she did for that month to 5 weeks, which in a future episode we'll kind of look at the timeline of her
Mhm.
actions during that, and it's just ridiculous.
Say that that's going to convince
I did not mean to start it playing there, but yeah, it is crazy.
you on how to do the right thing.
Let's start. Let me talk to you outside about the surveillance tapes, and maybe let I have you sit here for a little bit.
I'm going to leave that on. If you want to turn it off yourself.
You want some water or something?
No, I'm fine.
No, you good?
He's so over it by now too, the main interrogator.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a ridiculous interrogation, and I'm sure that so many of these are frustrating because they're trying to get an answer
Yep.
and they know that they're being lied to. That's what happens all the time. I
Mm.
mean, it would make sense that when somebody commits a crime and they're brought in for an interrogation and they lie.
Mm.
That makes sense to me. It's kind of logical because they don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
They don't, they're trying to think of a way to not be a suspect
Yep.
and also find out what the police know. They're trying to do all of those things simultaneously as one person.
Yes.
And they're not able to really do that. So, I mean, how many times did you hear it? Even with kids, did you break the glass?
Mm.
No. They know that they're lying. They also regret that they lied. They know that they're in trouble, not only for breaking the thing, but also lying. And then after the fact, they may come clean,
Yes.
and that's, so the initial lie of somebody sitting in the hot seat is kind of like, logically, I understand it, even though it's not good, but I
Mm.
understand it, especially when the stakes are high. Somebody's committed a crime. Did you rob that bank? No.
Yep.
Wasn't me. I mean, typically, it's very rare that you're going to have somebody sit in that seat and say, "Yeah, I did that." On
Exactly.
the first try, especially. Yeah. So, okay, after that fact, though, even if you did lie, and they give them multiple opportunities,
Mm.
like, okay, you've told us a lot of shit before, and what about right now? Why don't you just tell us what happened? So that we can find her.
Yep.
um None of that would have mattered, and I think that a lot of people consider that too, like, okay, well, yeah, she did lie in her first interrogation, so what, who doesn't? Most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
um but it's about also what happens after the fact. Now, after the fact of here, if she messed up and a lie comes flying out of her mouth on the onset, then okay, fine. But now that we're getting a little bit further away from that point to where she's walked them around this entire place, which is so weird too, because this is a fun place to go.
Yep.
And yet, in this office building, in this room, there is a woman getting yelled at by detectives for them, the whereabouts of her child, but there's people outside who are having a great time. They're on vacation.
It's
It's
like
it's
a massive
weird.
juxtaposition. Like,
It is.
if you were
Yeah.
at Universal Studios that day, going down one of the rides, the last thing you would think that's happening also at this place is a woman is getting
Mhm.
interrogated for the murder of her daughter. Like,
Right, exactly. Yeah, I know. It's very strange.
it's super
But
odd.
she's trying to make it seem as well that it's Casey and then there's everyone else
Yeah,
on the separate from her. There's two different teams. There's Casey who's like, "Oh, I have to strategize. How am I going to find her? Oh, I'm going to drag the detectives around to all of these different places where maybe she's been there. Maybe somebody will have noticed her." Like, and on the other side you have the law enforcement agencies with all of their resources, her family and friends and everybody who wants to help, but she's separating herself as well. So that's definitely a really strange thing.
exactly. Like, it's strange, if she is trying to convince everyone that she didn't do this, but it's just like it doesn't help her. Like, and I don't and I guess she's just flailing, but it's just she's making us by trying to look innocent, she's making herself look as guilty as sin. Like it is, not working very
Hmm.
well.
No, because every single story she's coming up with is being proven to be incorrect.
Yep, and what
And
the
she's not. Mhm.
no, you go.
Well, she's not giving an explanation for
No,
anything,
no.
so that's making it then even worse.
It is, and the detectives have done a really good job in just like I mean they know everything at this stage. They know everything except for exactly how Caylee died and the fact like where who she actually is. But they do a really good job of just revealing the information. Like basically like where we need you to help us, Casey. So tell us what's happened. And she does that, and then they're like, okay, well Jeffrey Hopkins doesn't know you and doesn't have a kid. Oh, okay. Well, so like just letting her kind of flail from one lie to the other, like
Hmm.
which has ended her in this situation because you've already put all this stuff on record. You've already put all of these things about how Juliette Lewis was the one you confided into. Okay, she doesn't exist. So it's just like lie after lie they're ticking off until they get to a point where
Hmm.
she's trapped.
My one goal is, regardless of how it happens, like I said, I don't care. I will lie, I will steal, I'll do whatever I can to find my daughter.
Well, she'll definitely lie and steal because she does it all the time, but unfortunately, none of it
Yeah.
is an effort to find her daughter. But 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? As Meatloaf said.
Right. Yes, he did
Put
say
that
that.
in my statement, and I mean that with all of my heart.
I know, but we don't want you to lie because
No.
we work off of truth.
I know that.
And we want to find your daughter as much as you do. And I don't think you're a monster or anything like that. I think you might have some pressures in your life. Who exerts the most pressure on you? Like my parents used to do me.
My mom does. Absolutely.
Does she not think you care for your daughter good enough, or
It's
I mean, it's rough being you're single mom.
living
Gotta
at
be
home with
rough.
my parents.
Got to be rough. You'll never live up to your mother's expectations, right?
At least not right now.
Right.
But that in no way means that I would ever do anything or let any harm come to that child. She's the one thing in this world that I love more than anything.
And I understand that, and I believe it. I see the tears in your eyes. Okay. My concern is I know.
And I find it interesting he says that because I mean, obviously we can't see her, but nothing about her voice suggests that she's been crying really at all through this. But it's
Hmm.
almost like he is saying that in a way to point out to her that you're not crying. And then after he says that, you hear her go like she's kind
Yeah.
of like it's I don't know if he intentionally did that, but you know it was like a subtle way he's pointing out that you are not crying, you are not acting like a someone who has not seen their daughter in a month and believes that she's been kidnapped.
Hmm.
From my years of experience, I know what young adults and young moms and dads can do when parents exert too much pressure on them. They don't live up to their standards, they don't, so, not that you would hurt your child, but you might, because if your parent just constantly talks down on you, makes you feel like crap, you're not good
It's
enough.
not constant. I brought that on myself. The stuff that she says, the thing that she said, she's been right about everything.
What kind of things does she say?
She told me that I took advantage of her, and she's right, because
And
I
how?
had for a very long time.
How did you take advantage of her?
By using credit cards. When I had my own money, I still used some of her money. I went and bought material things for nothing.
Right,
Whether it was things for myself, went out to eat,
right.
spent a little bit of time with friends, or went and took Caylee shopping. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, I was extremely selfish.
Right.
I was extremely selfish for a few years, quite a few years.
What about, I don't know anything about this, like I told you before, I was just sitting at my desk and he said, hey, come on. Something about a car at Amscott?
My car
what's
ran
up
out
with
of
that?
gas. I was driving actually to
Your
different
car?
places. My car, yes.
Okay.
Car that I bought for my brother 3 years ago.
Okay,
Sucks because I ran out of gas. My gas gauge is obviously reading wrong. The sensor could be wrong.
Right.
It showed I had half a tank of gas and it was empty.
when did it run out of gas? But before or after your baby was missing?
I was definitely after.
Yeah.
I was definitely after.
And it
was
ran out of gas in the
after.
parking lot of that check cashing store?
No, it was right at the corner of Goldenrod and 50. As you can turn, you get in that merging lane where Sam's is and the Amscott.
Right.
As you're going to get on to Goldenrod from 50, that's where my car stalled, right there. So I had to get out, 2 guys helped me push it into that parking lot.
Okay.
And I left 2 notes on the car, even saying I was going to come back and put gas in it.
Why is your mother saying that's her car, or is she? Is that what I
It's
heard?
still in my parents' name. It was my brother's car. He ended up, that was the car they bought my brother in high school.
Okay, so they bought,
He bought the car, he paid off the car,
And he
then
sold it to
he
you?
sold it to me. Yes.
but not officially with the
No.
title transfer?
My parents kept the title, whether for insurance purposes or whatever else. They still kept it in their name.
Oh, okay. So the fact that it was at the check cashing place is just coincidental because you ran out of gas.
Because I ran out of
It's not
gas
like
there.
you
It
went
wasn't on
there to
purpose.
cash a check. You
No, I
you
didn't go
in
there
the
to cash
store.
a check. No, I didn't go into the store. I
Right.
wasn't abandoning my car.
Right,
It just happened circumstantially, I ran out of gas.
right.
I had to call my boyfriend Tony to come and pick me up.
Wow. If you were in our shoes, what could we do to help you find your child?
I don't know.
What more can we do? Do you have a computer at home?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever send, what's the nanny's name?
Zenaida.
Did you ever send her any emails, or
Her
did she ever?
email accounts bounced back. I've tried twice. I
But
tried
she
twice
does-
this morning.
have
She
you-
had email.
Even when y'all were in good times, would she send emails back and
On
forth?
occasion, we would talk
Okay.
online, not usually through email.
So we
more.
might be able to track her. We might be able to track
If
her.
I check my logs, we could probably find her through instant messaging.
What would be great is if we could have our forensic computer guy
Mm-hmm.
take your computer with your permission and search it, and he can probably track her by her AOL or whatever account, and maybe see, because she's going to set up another account somewhere wherever she
Oh,
goes.
yeah. She's going
Would
to
that
set
be
up
something
another
you'd be
account.
willing to do?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I know that I have documentation on my computer somewhere. I have
Okay,
to.
well, he can find it. What he does, he makes a copy of what's on your computer, so you don't lose anything on your
Yeah.
computer,
That way you can just pull it.
and then he
And
can
go
search
through
through it. And maybe there's some clues there as far as where this lady has gotten off to. And when she was watching your baby, for the year and a half,
Almost 2 years.
almost 2 years, was she always in that same building?
She'd been at a house over in Andover Lakes for a while. That was one of the main places.
Was it
that she
her
was
house, or was it the one she was
No,
sharing?
it was a friend's house.
So it probably wasn't in her name?
No, it was not.
Is that one of the addresses Yuri had?
No.
Do you
We
know
never
that
went to
address?
house. I do not know the address.
Andover Lakes, where's that?
Off of Dean and Crayford.
Okay, that's out by, there's a McDonald's out that way?
Waterford, yeah. That's the new one.
Do you remember how to get to that house? So we could get the address, maybe do a title search, or, but she was probably just renting a room, or?
I think she was just running a room there for a while. She had a couple of the roommates. I know the house wasn't in any of their names. I think they were just running through.
Did you know any of those roommates?
I have names. I have 2 names for them, but nothing.
Have you given them to Yuri?
Yes.
Okay. What were those names?
Raquel Farrell and Jennifer Rosa.
Okay. You had any contact with them?
No.
Have any way of getting a hold of them, cell phone
I never
number?
really talked to them much anyway. I think I probably saw them maybe a handful of times.
Right.
Their schedules were completely opposite of mine. They were never really anybody that I met besides just in passing. Even with the boyfriend that Zenaida had last year, I saw
Right.
him maybe twice.
Right.
They only dated a couple months. It was never anything.
Wow, so much information.
Yeah, there's a lot. I know. Why would you know the full names of random people
Yeah, that you in
that you would
this
just
exactly.
yeah, they're not important. I mean, I suppose sometimes maybe you remember certain people, but it's like she remembers their full name.
Yeah,
And they're peripheral people that aren't related to Zenaida. She doesn't even live there anymore. She lived there previously.
yeah.
And who knows how long that they were there, anything like that. And she knows their full names. It's odd.
Exactly. Like in the same sentence where she says, oh, barely knew them, just saw them in passing. She knows their full names for both of them. Like, because it's
Hmm.
not like people introduce themselves that way. Like, you know what I mean? No one's like when you say these people are just hanging out at Zenaida's apartment, she comes and drops off Caylee or however this all comes out, and
Hmm.
Zenaida's like, oh, hey, that's John. And like these guys go, oh, it's going to say the first and last name, like, oh, g'day, I'm John. Like that's so. Why would you know their last name? Like, and it's suspicious
Yeah.
that you do. But she always has so much information. Oh, she knows how long she was dating her boyfriend and all this kind of stuff. It's too
Hmm.
much information.
She never had him around Caylee or the other children she had babysat, so it was never an uncomfortable situation. But this is so heart-wrenching because there's never a sign, never a single sign that this was going to happen.
Right. Do you know where she was from? With a name like Zoraida or whatever?
Zenaida.
Zenaida?
She's mixed. She's Puerto Rican and her father's black. She's from New York. From what I've been told, that's where she was born.
But even then, he said, "Do you know where she was from?" And she's like, "She's mixed. She's Puerto Rican and black." He didn't ask, like, what's her nationality? Like, where is she from? Where is she from? And you're just giving more information. Yes, she answers it, but why did we need
Hmm.
that extra information? Maybe it was
I don't
because
know.
he
She
was
just got to
kind of
keep
like,
talking.
yeah, well, that's true, because people that tell the truth often just keep talking. That's a very good sign of a truth teller.
Right. And they have answers for literally everything.
Exactly. I mean, it's well known that if you can't answer one thing, you're a bald-faced liar. That's
Yeah.
She
Right.
lived in Miami. She went to U of F. And she
You said you went to Colonial High School. Did you go to college afterwards?
Valencia.
Valencia? How many years at Valencia?
About a year and a half.
Year and
I
a
got my
half.
event planning certificate.
Yeah. Oh, and that's when you got hired on here at,
Well, I got that outside of all of this. I just wanted to do event planning, period, and working occasional events even before actually coming to the event department, even
Right.
part-time or as a seasonal employee. It was just something I always wanted to do anyway.
right.
So,
When you were growing up, you take any medicines or anything?
No.
No. Your baby take any medicines? Didn't she need any medicine?
not at all.
She's good health?
She's had one cold and it lasted 2 days her entire life.
Yeah? Wow.
She's been extremely healthy.
Pediatrician. Who's your baby's pediatrician?
Dr. Silva?
Did, these chairs aren't very comfortable. It gets lean way back.
Exactly, I'm not comfortable alone.
I feel like I'm leaning way back. Did the nanny ever take baby to the doctor?
The only people that were on the list was myself and
and it's a small point, but she must be the only 3-year-old ever that has only had one cold their entire life. I mean, kids are always sick. Like,
I know, they're gross.
yeah. And you know, she's apparently being babysat with another kid at the same
Hmm.
time. They go into all these fun places, and she's had one cold her whole life. Amazing. Like, that is a
Yeah.
medical miracle.
Both of my parents. And my dad had come with me to a couple visits. My mom, I think, came to one. It was usually just Caylee and I.
Favorite places to go? I guess Universal was one of them.
Well, as a theatrical thing, of course, but
Right.
she liked G. Blanchard Park, going to Lake Underhill and walking around the lake.
Whereabouts in the park did she like the best?
The playgrounds. She
Yeah.
liked to just attempt to run around Lake Underhill. She liked to go and walk the big trail at J. Blanchard Park. The
Yes,
Yukon Trail.
that's a big
She
trail.
loved that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just finished walking that trail. That's where the jogger was killed, I believe.
Mhm.
It's a pretty park.
My mom didn't want me going out there to run for that reason.
Yeah.
She didn't even want me running on the outside of our neighborhood around Chickasaw for the longest time because of that.
I'm trying to think, when you pull into the park, is the playground off to the right? If you're looking at
There's
the creek or
two
the river?
playgrounds.
Which one did she play at?
She's played at both of them, but usually the bigger one that's down towards where the Y is.
Right. That's the one she liked the most?
Yeah. Because there's more things to climb on, and for her to run around, there's usually a lot more little kids.
Yeah.
So, and there's swings.
When was the last time she was there?
The last time I know that she was there was the end of May. I took her in April a couple times. I've taken her a
Okay.
few times myself this year. The last time that I know that she went with someone other than myself was the end of May.
End of May. And you last saw her June the 9th?
Monday.
Do you remember what y'all did on June the 8th?
The
I
Sunday.
can't think of what I did, but anything significant?
I think I might have been at Tony's. I think my mom took Caylee up to see her parents in Mount Dora. She either took her up there that Saturday
What's
or that
Tony's?
Sunday. It's my boyfriend's apartment.
Oh, okay. Mount Dora.
It's just north of Apopka.
Yeah. So that was like a day visit?
For my parents, or for my mom, yeah. When
Yeah.
my mom goes up there, even just by herself or with my dad, or if I go up there with her, it's usually just...
Your mom will go, that's your current boyfriend, right? Is that what you said?
Mhm.
So your mom will go there and she
No, my
likes
mom will
him?
go up to Mount Dora to see her parents.
Oh, okay. And your boyfriend just happens to live up there too? They're not?
No, he lives off of University.
Oh. Okay, I got you. So your baby went up there with your mom to see her parents?
See her great-grandparents.
Yeah. How old are they?
Wow, my grandfather's, I think, 88, maybe?
Wow.
And my grandmother's probably 82, 83.
Hang on a second. I am an interview.
You know, and like, as we were talking about before, like these randoms and all these other people that she's made up, you know, she has all the information about them tip of her tongue. Her grandparents that she's known her whole life, they're like, oh, 82, 83. Like, the information she makes up, it's boom, it's there. But actual truth
Mhm.
is, you know, not so readily available.
Right.
Meg. That's my partner. He's going on a cruise to Bahamas, I think.
Nice.
Was that 3 day, 4 night, or
Usually.
4 day, 3 night, or something like that? That'd be nice. Yeah, I guess, but I don't like boats. So,
And it's stuff like this, like, I mean, if I was trying to put myself in her situation and I'm, you know, I'm not guilty of this, I'll be like, I don't really give a fuck. Why are we not looking for my
Mhm.
daughter? I don't give a fuck if he's going on a cruise. That's great. Better be after we find my fucking kid. Like, what are we doing here? But she's like, oh, that's nice. Fucking hell.
man, I just don't know everything that was asked of you, and I just don't know. You're our biggest help. You're going to be our biggest help in solving this.
I have nothing to go off of. That's the problem. I have perspective ideas of maybe where she could go, but at the
Tell me.
same time, she could have gone back up to New York. She could have gone up to Jacksonville where we have a friend. Could have gone down to Miami where her mom and her sister live now. She could have gone anywhere.
Did she have any children?
No.
And we're talking about the babysitter, right? She didn't have any children?
No.
Could she have children? Is it something that she could have done?
I'm pretty sure that she could. That was never anything that came up, but I mean,
Did she ever, when you look back,
told me.
did she ever make any funny, oh, like I love this child, you know, I wish you were mine, or anything like that? Or
never that I had witnessed or anybody else had ever told me. She used to just say how much she loved Caylee and that she was such a good kid. And, you know, she was very, very proud of how she was being raised.
Right.
It was always good praise, but more of things that I've heard from other friends. Nothing that sounded out of the ordinary, that it was ever strange or weird.
Right.
But then this just happened. And she was nonchalant with me the morning of. Everything was perfectly fine.
And when you would call, like you would drop baby off in the morning or for the day, or was it because you had to go to work and she was watching?
Mm-hmm.
Would you call during the day? Call her up during the day?
I would
too?
always call and check on Caylee or send a text message, or if I was online, just to make sure that everything was okay, or she would occasionally call me. Just
Can you
to let
get
me know.
online here at work? Can you send text messages from work?
I usually just use my phone.
Oh, okay.
I usually text from, well, use my computer, instant message from, you know, anywhere else where I have access.
Well, once again, I mean, that phone, I'm not an electronic geek, but I mean, the phone might have some valuable clues in there that can help us try to track down maybe
And the
that.
bad thing is it only saves 20 calls at a time. And text messages, it only saves the messages that I receive. It doesn't show anything that I sent. That's why I pulled up a list of stuff for them.
Is that a Boost phone?
No,
What
it's
is
a
it?
Nokia. It's an AT&T phone. It's probably one of the cheapest, crappiest, simplest phones.
But
you
the
could
phone,
possibly get.
but the phone company, your service will have your telephones itemized for
Yeah,
everyone you
I have
pay,
everything,
right?
but-
Incoming and outgoing, right?
Incoming and outgoing. The thing is,
Do you have those itemized bills for?
I printed off the ones for July.
Did you give them to Yuri?
Mhm.
Okay.
We did last night. Actually, I put them on a zip drive form. I gave him my zip drive that has pictures.
Okay.
And it has 2 different Word documents. One that has my text messages, one they were sent to what number, and ones that I had received. It didn't show the actual message itself, but it at least showed text message sent at this time to such and such number.
Right.
Same thing with the phone list. I just need to go back on the Singular website and find the other months.
Right.
And I know she's had at least 3 different phone numbers in the last almost 4 years that I've met her.
Mhm.
And I know that she was on 2 different phone plans.
And she's lived in
different
2
times.
different places since,
Well,
did you know of?
She's lived in a
Since
couple
she's been
different
watching your
places.
child?
No, she's lived just in Orlando since I've met her. But she had just
In the
visited-
Andover Lakes. Was she watching you, baby?
Jesus. But she knows she's going to get caught out, surely. Like, because they're going to look at them. There's going to be, no unaccounted numbers. I just. It's just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, it's just like her going there and walking them around. She never stopped until it got to the point where she couldn't go any further.
So, hypothetical question. So, say,
Mhm.
I mean, you know, no spoiler, but at the end of this interview, she's arrested because they're obviously not going to
Mhm.
let her go. But say, either they couldn't get enough to arrest her out of this, or yeah, hypothetical, she's let go after this. They kind of buy some of it and think, okay, we're going to go look into all this kind of stuff, but you're free to go. What do you think she does?
I think she goes to her boyfriend's house.
Yep, it just goes and hangs out and hopes it'll all be cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where she would go.
See, that's what I find, because, and I agree with you, but see, that's what I find interesting, because you know all of this kind of stuff, as we've said many times, is about buying time. Like, try to get out of here, try to
Mhm.
back, but then I feel like most people, if that was the case, they would realise they're fucked. They'd realize all of these lies they've told can't be substantiated. So if some miracle happens and you get out of there, well, you've just got to flee. Like, you know what I mean, and hope to start a new
Hmm.
life. But I don't, and I, but I agree with you that that's why Casey is such a unique person because I don't think she would. I think she would you know, either she would know she's fucked and well, I'm just gonna make the most of the time I have left, or she thinks that people believe her because people have believed her crazy lies for most of her life. You know, there's
Right.
there's like some like they're not important to the case, but like there's like a few stories from her childhood and that really kind of sum up, you know, who she is, maybe why she thinks she can get away with lying, and probably a fair bit of what her parents are like too. In that, like, she
Hmm.
um she didn't graduate from high school because she didn't like attend enough classes and that kind of stuff. But she told her parents she had, and everyone went to her graduation, like, you know, and extended family, friends, all that kind of stuff. Did the whole graduation presents and everything, and they get there, and obviously she's not called up on stage. Um, and I think the school had let her and her parents know the day before, you know, you won't be graduating, but she rocks up anyway, and then her and her parents say to all the family and friends, "Oh, there's been some kind of mistake. The school have really stuffed up here, you know. But anyway, we'll just, you know, we're not going to make a scene. We'll just go about it, like just just letting her get away with this kind of stuff. And even when she was
Hmm.
pregnant, like, you know, it was obvious she was pregnant, but her and her mum would tell everyone, you know, she's just bloated. Like, there's just
Right.
been no accountability, and yeah, but obviously her parents either buy her lies or they just choose to, you know, it's easy to go along with it because they must have known she wasn't working. I mean, she was stealing money all the time. You don't you like why are you stealing money if you've got a job? You know, they must have known these things, but just it's easier just to go, okay, Casey, have a great day at work. We'll look after your daughter. Like,
Yeah, I think they had a very tumultuous relationship. I think it was emotional. I think it was rocky.
mm,
I think that it was, there's could have been a lot of yelling,
mhm,
that went on and a lot of fighting. So I think a lot of that stuff was happening. So, maybe it wasn't completely uncommon that, or to imagine her parents not seeing her for some time.
yep,
It wasn't completely crazy or something like that. So, and they thought that she was working.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, she was still using their money, but that's not unlike Casey though. It's not as if that type of behavior would have been out of the ordinary
yep,
to where they were saying, "Okay, well, this is going to stop now because you now are working.
yep,
So we expect that you're not going to be using this." And then were noticing that she was still doing that where they would be able to question her about that. I mean, it just seems like, you know, they're dealing with her personality and the fact that she lies about everything. And for whatever reason, she's not held accountable for that. I
yep,
don't know why that is.
yep. You know, and I wonder if, you know, subconsciously she thinks, well, this is just going to happen again. You know, the cops will believe me, or, you know, just because, yeah, there doesn't seem to be any real, I don't know, acceptance that she's in a whole heap of trouble. Um,
Yeah, I think the reality for her is that they haven't found Kaylee
mm,
and she's still talking to them.
yep,
So she thinks that by having an answer to everything, that means that they're going to believe her because they can't possibly know the truth because
yes.
they haven't found Kaylee and see who else is going to know the truth. Well, it's only Casey because all of the other people don't exist.
Yes. Yep, so they can't rat her
Except
out.
for yeah, exactly. I think certainly what would make her very nervous though is the fact that they told her that they were talking to people.
Yeah, yep,
and she's not able to control that narrative, whatever they're saying, because I'm sure that she would be more than willing to speak on their behalf.
Definitely.
Oh, well, what did Tony think? Oh yeah, Tony thought this and that and the other. She would be more than willing to talk like that.
Yep.
Give a lot of hearsay. Yeah, hearsay.
Hmm.
And then in the, whatever this other place is, or,
There was another apartment that she had been in probably right about the time that I met her. It's Althea Club Apartments.
does Yuri know all that?
Mhm.
Althea Club Apartment? So she's,
She'd only lived there for a few months. I think Caylee probably was only there maybe once or twice.
did she live in the apartment that you dropped her off at the steps? Was that one of the ones she lived in, or was that,
That was one of the places where we had met up a couple different times. I actually have a couple friends that live in that complex, so does she.
okay.
A good friend of mine from high school still lives there. He has a one-bedroom apartment
Do you know
right around the
do you
corner.
know who her friends were in there, where they lived, or names, or anything
I
like
do
that?
not. She used to
Isn't that
talk about
weird?
people all the time, but would never.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, isn't that weird
Yeah. Yeah.
that she doesn't know the names of Zenaitis friends who would be still living there? Isn't that odd?
Well, there's only,
It's almost like she doesn't want them to go there and ask for these people and find out they don't exist either.
exactly. But her brain's full of all the random acquaintances that she knows the full name of. But
Mhm.
no,
Yeah.
there's only so much you can fit in your head, right? So
True. Yeah.
I
I
guess
know that more than anybody.
Use specific
So
names
yeah,
or.
it's really funny how she's coming out with all of this, and but when it's something that can be substantiated, she doesn't know.
it's a bit foggy all of a sudden.
Bit foggy, yeah.
Really go into any detail about anything. And again, it never seemed weird. Some people are just very particular about giving out details or specific
Right.
details about other people. So I understood all of that, but looking back at stuff now, the privacy, the way she was a little bit changing phones, and it didn't seem right whatsoever.
Right.
So looking back at any place that I know that she had ever gone to, or that again would seem familiar for me, that maybe I've gone to meet her, to drop off Caylee or to pick up Caylee for whatever reason. We'd find mutual places sometimes,
Right.
or I'd go and pick her up at a grocery store if that's where they were, to try to make it a little bit easier.
If
Very, very convenient that the story has changed from I dropped her off here because that's where she lives to else. So, oh, well, it's not real reliable. I don't know if she was there. Now that she knows that the
Hmm.
cops looked into her. Oh, look, we just kind of, met at the supermarket and that to make it easier for her. So,
Hmm.
don't hold me to any of
Yep.
this.
Right.
if we found a nanny today and we found your baby, what's your biggest, what's the next biggest hurdle for you in your life as far as who's it? Maybe explaining something to somebody, or what's the next biggest concern? I know your major concern now is finding your baby.
Honestly, that's all I care about at this point, and I'll take that necessary step with whatever, with
Now, who would that be? I mean, who's going to be the next hurdle in your life as far as trying to explain that, no, I'm not a neglectful mother, I'm not, is it going to be your
myself.
mom?
No, it's going to be saying that and proving that to myself every day. My mom flat out told me yesterday she will never be able to forgive me, and I even told her.
But this is what I meant. Like, if your story is true, that the babysitter, you took her to the babysitter, which you've been going to for years. You've had no reason to suspect there's anything. She's been doing a fantastic job of looking after her. You took her there, and that was the last time you saw her. If that is the truth, you're not neglectful. You've done nothing wrong. You have been
Right.
incredibly unfortunate. It's devastating what's happened to you. So in this scenario, he's just pointed out to her that, okay, we find Zanny today. Kaylee's all healthy and well. She's returned you. What's the next hurdle for you? Nothing. There is no hurdle. I've got my
Hmm.
I've been incredibly fortunate. I've got my child back. But she's like talking about, having to prove to herself she's not neglectful. Well, by your story, you have done nothing wrong. You're not a neglectful parent. So why is that not
Mhm.
your answer? Like,
I know. I don't know.
I'm never gonna be able to forgive myself. Every day I've been beating myself up about this. Every single day.
Right.
Not knowing where to go, what to do, running in circles, literally, because it's all I can do at this point.
Right.
Even if I would have had my car in perfect condition, under perfect conditions, it wouldn't have mattered. Where would I have gone? Just driven around for nothing?
No, you
That's
didn't
what
have to do anything.
exactly.
She still keeps going with this stupid thing about her needing to go and find her kid
Yeah,
without telling anybody else. You don't have to go and be like, oh, I've really got to rack my brain and see where I can find her. I mean, you're the best thing that you can do. You're not helping her at all by having all of that in your head
no.
and saying, "Oh man, I'm stuck," and "Oh no, my car broke down," and I'm just going to go to all of these places where she was last, you know, without also including the very necessary steps of involving the people who can actually do something.
Yeah, and the police aren't a paid service. Like, it's not like, oh, well, I've got no money, so I can't call the cops to help them find my daughter. Like,
Mhm.
like, there is no reason. Like, so this whole thing, well, I was just gonna go find her myself, but my car broke down. Like, it's this is ludicrous. Like,
Mhm.
and I think that's like she's been so far backed into the corner. It's everything she says now is just crazy.
Yeah,
And
but she won't stop talking.
no, she won't stop talking. And the kind of, I guess, the more, because I guess these guys are playing good cop, bad cop here, and I guess the
Mhm.
bad cop has left the room now, and he's doing a great
Mhm.
job of just being the whole, I'm on your side. Let's work through what the steps are here and that, and she just won't shut up.
Yeah.
She just won't stop.
it feels like.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I would hope this would never happen to you again, but I think if it
I
ever
would
happened
never
again,
let this happen again.
the
If I had
very
to go to
first
school
phone call
full-time,
should be to
would
the
absolutely
police.
be to the
Because we have
police.
so many resources.
I wouldn't hesitate to talk to my parents this time if
Right.
something happened. I mean, I learned the biggest lesson from all this. I made the greatest mistake that I ever could have made as a parent, and I even, told Yuri that this morning, and he said he couldn't disagree.
Right.
Well, you know what, everyone? She's learned a lesson. I think we just leave it all here. I think just let her go. She
Yeah.
knows what to do next time. She loses, you know, she loses a daughter, slash, um, has something to do in the death of her daughter. So just let's call it a day, yeah?
Everybody makes mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone deserves a
Mhm.
second chance. So let
That's
her
right.
go.
Right.
You all right?
No, I'm just going to stand up, stretch my leg.
Okay.
Well, I know you've been in here a long time. Appreciate you talking to us and whatnot. I mean,
I'm sorry I've given you guys the runaround.
we're not trying to be big scary guys. We're just
Oh,
trying
I
to
know,
get.
and
We're just trying to make sure we get accurate information so we have something to work off of.
I understand that. I just wish I honestly had more things to help with. We've talked about going through my computer, maybe trying to find past conversations through instant messenger or through emails, something.
Okay.
I'll offer up my computer in a heartbeat. Just like with my phone logs and everything else, anything that could possibly help. That's why we've set up websites and have been making phone calls and trying to get a hold of people. I had such a limited number of people that I was actually trusting at that point, thinking maybe they could help, maybe they'd have some insight. I didn't want to involve a bunch of people that maybe didn't know the situation. Biggest mistake was not calling you guys right off the bat. I understand all of that. It's the biggest slap in the face, and I did that to myself. But the worst of all, I've done this to my daughter by allowing her to still be with someone else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right about that. By failing to notify somebody, right? I'm glad you acknowledged that. But by failing to notify somebody, you put your daughter at greater risk.
Even bigger risk.
You put your daughter in terrible danger by just letting this drag out for 5 weeks and not telling anybody. That's you're right. I'm not going to argue with you there.
No.
Okay. You want to head back to the office and
Yeah.
get outside, or I want to bring this Zenaida up on the I'm going to put that name in David and see what we get. Better take a look, make sure we're...
Both of my parents were even saying to try to figure out other names if she went by something else.
Let me just go ahead because this is still running. I noticed it. Raise your right hand for me, just like this morning. You
Yes.
swear everything you told me is the truth now about the lies
Yes.
and everything else? Okay.
And that's it. That's the interrogation. So she's essentially arrested now. And spends the next I think it's about 3 years until this goes to court, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
It's so yeah, so that's the interrogations. Um, and kind of the next few videos we're going to do on this is we'll look at the timeline in terms of the, because we're really up up to the trial essentially now. So we'll look at the timeline of what Casey did in that month to 5 weeks. Um, as well as kind of, I guess, a general timeline of the case itself, and also listen to some of the calls in jail, because they're incredibly interesting, and like
Hmm.
her reactions to kind of what's been said to her are really bizarre. Like, and that's like, to me, like, I watch them, like, you realize this is being recorded, right? Because if anyone up to this point thought that she was innocent, pretty much those kill it. And then yeah, probably have a bit of a, I guess, an overall, definitely not going through the whole court case, but a bit of an overall look at the case as itself. So yeah, we're chugging along through it.
Yeah. No,
So
that sounds good.
so what are your thoughts on the interrogation? Anything other than, I guess, overall?
Well, I think they did a good job.
Yeah.
I think that they were asking the questions that made sense.
Mm.
They were trying to get an answer from her as to, well, why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you tell anybody? You're talking about, well, now I would do that. Well, why didn't you do that then?
Yes.
What type of epiphany did you have that you said, well, if this ever happens again, I know exactly what to do? She
Mm.
already knew what to do before. She just didn't do it because she couldn't.
That's right. I mean, a child would know what to do, in these kind of things. So, but just the way she's kind of like, well, this has been a learning experience essentially. Like, she's got a notepad out. Next time daughter goes missing, call police. I'm gonna
Right.
I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna frame it, put it up on the wall, and I'll know from now
Hmm.
on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's just lies. She lied about everything,
Yes.
and it's really sad.
It is. And so, kind of to wrap it up, on the charge of being a horrible liar, how do you find Casey Anthony?
Guilty.
Guilty. Yes, I agree.
Yep, guilty. Yes.
um,
No, absolutely. Very, very guilty.
yes. So yeah, so that'll do us there for today. So thank you for listening, and yeah, we'll be back again soon with most likely, I think, the jail calls, but we'll see what happens. So
Okay.
see you again soon. Bye.